Hi, I'm Sean Thomas Dougherty. I'm going to be reading my essay, Whatever Happened to David Caruso, published in 9 Mile Literature magazine from upstate New York. Whatever happened to David Caruso? What if what you are running from is the moment when you found out your life was much worse than you suspected? It was the first night my wife hadn't had a drink in weeks. We were up watching episodes of CSI Miami as she tossed and turned. CSI, that great cheesy 2000s cop show, when she says, "Whatever happened to David Caruso?" 90s redhead, tough guy cop whose acting career hit a snag and a series of B movies until he found his role as Detective Horatio Kane in CSI Miami. He always had a tagline to open and close a scene. A body could be lying there, and the coroner looks up at the sky and says, "No one falls 3 stories and gets up and runs away." And Horatio Kane puts on those mirrored sunglasses and says, "If you do, you've got something to hide." Which makes me think of one of Caruso's early roles as a loud young cop out to nail Christopher Walken's ultimate gangster Frank White and the classic gangster flick Kings of New York, when at a police-full funeral, White rolls up in a limo, says, "Hey, you," and in front of 100 cops, blasts a shotgun into Caruso's face. Which is what it feels like the moment when you find out your life was much worse than you suspected. Although I'm not sure, are you Caruso, the shotgun blast, or the shooter? It isn't like that with the poets with their academic pedicures and their summer rendezvous at Bread Loaf, their endowed professorships and endless complaints about who got what job. I can't help but hear Biggie, who called himself the Black Frank White, bouncing in my brain, "Word is bond," as I drive to work a double shift, and think of Frank White when he walks with his crew right into the mafia card game and grins. "Any nickel bag sold in this park, I want in. You guys got fat while everyone starved on the street." My wife is sleepy now, snoring a sober snore. She is the dark music I wear throughout the day. She is a 9mm I carry in the holster at my chest. I touch her face lightly as she murmurs. When she was young, she used to run dope up from Ohio, black tar they bought off the Mexican cruise. She used to be state karate champion. She could drop you with an open palm. Now near 40, after ravaged years from alcoholism and disease, she gets up each day and drinks and makes our daughter's breakfast of fried bread and powdered sugar. She goes to her appointments. She buys potatoes. She writes some lines when she can. She braids our daughter's hair. She's a space between us that has grown, I travel always towards, across despite the distance. She's a space between us that has grown, I travel always towards, across, despite the distance. But tonight, she is a sober dreamer for the first time in longer than I can remember. The doctors tell her time is passing. She is trying despite the wreckage. Isn't that all we can ask of the damned? The days that remain dwindle. I inhale the warm wind through the open window this summer as if it could be our last, before the long procession into that other country. I keep the bagpipes at bay. I memorize our shadows in the long light of every evening. The ceiling fan turns its spiral in the blue light of the room. Across the city of AM, the last Ubers roll toward doorways of dealers. The poppies lay down their sleepy heads. I do not know what more to tell, except with all our flaws and fractures, we are the living. David Caruso gave up acting to become an art dealer. I can't tell from Google if he actually paints. I don't care enough to look more. Horatio was about to solve the case. Did you know that David Caruso's first acting job was posing as the other guy in police lineups? Perhaps that is the metaphor for my entire life. I have been the guy they hired to pretend they are the mugger, the forger, the rapist, the serial killer, the one who looks like the guy who did it for the witness to not finger. Because if they do, We know the suspect is maybe innocent. And when do the detectives ever want the suspect to be innocent? What more can the poem do? Oh, love, did you know that Silos Milosh was wrong when he argued, what is poetry that does not save nations? You are my nation. I only wanted to write poems to save you.